everybody, this is Everything is Fine, Nothing is Ruined. I am your host, Tristan. With me today, as always, is my co-host, Hassan.
That's me.
That's him. Here's the thing. I have bad news. The King of England has decided to have enough of our crap and is running rampage across the world, busting into people's homes, wielding swords and taking us all hostage one at a time. And I'm pretty sure you are next, listener. I can't say otherwise. You're probably want to bar your doors, board up your windows, buy a gun or two. So, yeah, I mean, turns out America was right in 1700 whatever. What?
I think that's an imposter, Tristan, because currently the King of England is in the hospital because he has butt problems.
He's got butt problems?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then who's this guy?
I think that's just a weird imposter of some kind. I'll also point out, the King of England probably can't hold a sword. He's got real sausagey fingers, so...
That doesn't mean he can't hold a sword. Come on.
They're very big sausagey fingers.
But they make those handguards, like, you know, you can wrap your hand around the handle of a sword. The hilt's not that, like... It's not that big and thick. It's designed for most hands. He'll be fine.
You should look up his fingers. I don't. It's gonna have to be it's gotta have a pretty big arc to it for him to get his fingers through the
King Charles.
I don't know what you would call the handguard, and then to wrap them around. It's they're big fingers. Also,
he does have giant. Wow, he has huge.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he can hold a sword.
Hey, King Charles, what the fuck's up with your hands?
It's called just being old and bad blood flow.
Like deep vein thrombosis kind of stuff. Okay.
I'm not sure, but and he's in the hospital
sucks.
for a prostate procedure.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, so I don't know who's doing this, but that's some kind of an imposter.
Okay, fair enough. And so I guess if he's well, then egg on my face. I guess you don't got to worry about the Monarch at all coming to your house and trying to take over your living room or whatever. So really, just if he comes to your place, just let him in and what?
So you don't have to worry about the British monarchy showing up at your house and taking over your living room.
Yeah.
You might have to worry about Monarch doing that, though.
The hell's Monarch?
The United Government. They're an agency, we'll say. Deal with it, mutos.
Is this what we're talking about today? This weird government agency?
That's right, Tristan. We're here to talk about Monarch, Legacy of Monsters.
Every time. All right. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So, okay. This guy who is not the King of England is whatever, but Monarch is a government agency that helps write the Legacy of Monsters, I assume. Question mark.
Nah, they try and protect society by preparing us in unclear ways. Let's get
hold on. We'll get to it, I guess, but is it actually so unclear? Because I feel as if a agency who wants to protect people from monsters, they might want to be pretty open about that stuff.
Oh, no, they were a secret organization. Also it's unclear because there's some, let's say, inconsistencies to what it is that they're supposed to do.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Whether that is they're just there to detect and warn, or whether they are actively supposed to be building means by which to stop the mutos.
They call them mutos? Ooh.
So, Tristan, Monarch Legacy of Monsters is a television series taking place in Legendaries, that being the mainly movie production companies.
Generally enjoy Legendary stuff, typically.
So far, Godzilla and King Kong series, which we've discussed. I've made it clear. I think there is exactly one incredible film in that series, and then two absolute terrible films, and
a new one coming up,
anime TV series, and a new one that I hope just absolutely fails at the box office.
Oh, okay, fine.
I hate the look of that.
You love it. You're gonna
remember what it's called.
It's King Kong. It's Kong versus Godzilla. Kong x Godzilla. Now it's time for fisting.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Godzilla.
Fistpocalypse?
Oh, man. Because I don't even remember what the last one was. I think the last one was just called Godzilla vs. Kong. Who cares? Anyways, this is a TV series. Started in 2023. I believe finished 2024. Yes, finished 2024. Yeah, okay. 10 episodes on Apple TV. So it's created by Chris Black, who I can't say I'm particularly familiar with many of his works. So he's produced and written for things like, can't believe this one, but Cleopatra 2525.
Really?
Yeah, that incredible opening. Weird Science, Xena Warrior Princess, Star Trek Enterprise, but also like Desperate Housewives, Hawaii Stand Up, like a very varied career. But then also Matt Fraction, which for anybody...
Okay, wait, Matt Fraction's writing on this?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah, okay.
Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, Matt Fraction, a comic book writer, done a variety of items. I'm just reading off Wikipedia here, but he's done Invincible Iron Man, FF, The Immortal Iron Fist, Uncanny X-Men, Hawkeye, Casanova, Sex Criminals.
Yes, he sure has. Along with some sort of RC. That's enough.
And just a ton of other stuff. And
Hawkeye.
so
he had the legendary Hawkeye run, by the way. If you want to read what I think is the best Matt Fraction, besides Sex Criminals, his Hawkeye run is beautiful. Go on.
Well, the point of this show, the reason why it's called Monarch, is that in Legendaries, this Monsterverse, Monarch is a government supported agency. They don't necessarily directly report into a single nation's government. They're a bit more like a United Nations agency, although I don't think they directly fall under the United Nations. It's hard for me to remember because a bunch of this stuff comes up in, say, the second and third film that I just don't care about.
Why not?
But this is focusing on kind of their history and their work. And I think that this is a really good TV show and a really bad kaiju show.
Man, this seems to happen a lot. This seems to happen a lot with specifically the kaiju stuff that you watch. With the exception of, like, I think Godzilla -1 or whatever it's called.
That's because they haven't made a lot of good kaiju stuff.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
In recent years.
Okay. Before we get into this show, what is your like time to like bomb drop for when they introduce Pacific Rim into this whole thing?
Oh,
because you know it's going to happen. It's building up to that. Come on, you know it is. It's legendary.
In some ways, the most recent movie kind of does that.
Oh yeah.
The way that they handle Mechagodzilla, it kind of does that. So we're kind of already there.
There you go.
In a way. I mean, the trailer for that new movie, Kong's got this stupid robot fist. So I don't know, Evangelion or something. It's dumb.
Godzilla X King Kong. Kong is gonna fist you. It's fisting time.
No.
Fear the fist of King Kong?
So, this show, there's also not time travel, but multiple time periods happening. So, it is both showing us the origins and the founding of Monarch, as well as not quite current time. So the sort of two main time periods that we get are just trying to hear these timelines. I believe it's around sort of 1952. No, sorry, that's when that character's born. So about like late 50s, early 60s, effectively, is when a lot of this in the past is happening. And then 2015 is where we're getting a bulk of it as well. And so our cast of characters in the current time is Kate Randa, who she is a California elementary school, I think it is, teacher. She was in, I believe it's San Francisco, when the 2014 movie happens, and we sort of first see the Mutos and Godzilla fights them. Yeah,
sure it's not Muto.
No, it's MUTO. It stands for Massive Unidentified Terrestrial Organism.
Oh boy, okay, it's got an acronym. Okay,
so instead of using the term kaiju, that's what Legendary calls all the kaiju is Mutos.
Ooh, okay. So
yeah, I hate it.
I guess it doesn't really fit in with Pacific Rim then, because they just called them kaiju. So
yeah, I hate it. It's dumb. I hate it. It sucks. It's the worst. Because in the first Godzilla movie, it sort of made sense. Or sorry, the 2014 one.
Yeah,
it kind of made sense because that's just what they call these insecty creatures, but they seem to have now since applied that name to all creatures. Not a fan of it. But so we have Kate Randa. We then have Kentaro Randa, who he is a
Kentaro Randa.
Yes, so. He is a Japanese artist, does sort of more visual arts, like, you know, having projectors with someone talking over it and stuff.
Does he wear a skull on top of his head and kind of like a cheesy barbarian outfit with a big hammer?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
So they are, unbeknownst to them until they find out about each other into their you know what, I'm gonna look up their ages here because I honestly don't. Well, this wiki doesn't tell me how old they are. I'm gonna guess they're both vaguely in their 30s, maybe late 20s. We'll say age unclear, but well into their adulthood, they find out that their dad he was two-timing, and he had secret families.
Ooh.
So what happens there is Kate travels to Japan because her father kind of disappeared around the time that Godzilla showed up. So her mom's like, well, you know, here's the address for the apartment he was renting in Japan that, you know, for work, kept sending him there. Hey, it turns out, actually, no, he had a secret secondary family, so there's a bunch of family stuff there. We also have May, who is our super hacker, basically.
Super hacker? Finally, a super hacker in a movie or a TV show with monsters.
Not a big fan of her character in it.
Also, I just realized I got Kentaro wrong. Let me do that joke again. Does Kentaro is Kentaro a large four-armed cat man with a barbarian shoulder pad set on?
No.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, not.
That'd be really
good. We also have, who I would argue, the best character in the show, Tim. Tim? Yeah, so played by
Joe Tippett.
Joe Tippett, yeah. He steals the show for me. So he is a agent as part of Monarch.
Yeah.
He's also joined by Michelle Duvall, who is sort of our badass female assassin secret agent.
There's always one, at least. Anyway.
And then we have Lee Shaw, who in the present day is played by Kurt Russell. And in the past, is played by Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good. I like that. Yeah.
So that ends up working.
That said, Wyatt Russell does not look at all like his dad.
No, it's very funny that you're just like, it's a little bit hard to actually mock that's supposed to be the same person.
Kind of the eyes and the nose mostly.
He's definitely got a lot of his mother to his looks.
Yes, you can definitely tell. Yeah, I agree.
See Goalie Han in there. But then also in the past, we have Keiko Randa, the grandmother of Kate and Kentaro. And then we have William Randa, who is not the biological grandfather of them. So Keiko already had a son before meeting William.
Okay.
Who is, Hiroshi? Yes, Hiroshi Randa. They married. William ends up adopting him. And so William Randa is actually a character who had previously shown up in Kong Skull Island. So he was played by John Goodman there. But in this TV show, there's one scene at the very beginning with John Goodman reprising his role, but then otherwise it is Anders Holm playing that character the entire time.
Okay.
We have some other characters. I'm not going to get into them, but so we have these two different time periods, not time zones, time periods. And so sort of the main crux of this show is that when Kate goes to find her brother, they then end up to try and get some closure and stuff. They end up going to their father's office. When they get there, they find this bag from Monarch, and they end up taking it to May. And there's actually a really dumb scene where I believe it's a laser disc that is in the bag. They're like,
"What is laser disc?
What is this? We don't understand this technology.
What is this giant disc?"
And I hate it because the show takes place in 2015, and I can fully understand them not knowing Laserdisc.
No, hold on. It takes place in 2015, though.
Right. So I fully understand them not being familiar with it, not knowing what it is.
Familiar, yes.
But it does mean that the likes of, online search engines exist, and you just go... big disc ? And it's just gonna go, it's a laser disc. A million people search it a year. It's just a laser disc.
Big disc ? Let me see if this I got big disc energy. I have a lot more big disc energy. A Millennium Omega big bead. Magura USA big disc brakes.
I have some questions about if you are if your searches might be influenced by
image search though. Laser discs come up.
Right. It's a very dumb scene.
Yeah.
But they take it to her and then it's all encrypted. She pulls the data, but that then alerts Monarch that somebody's accessing these because she has to, run it through processor we detected images and sort of I forget what you call it, but you will basically hide kind of invisible data in something.
Like a magic eye picture?
No, so I can mostly speak to it from music industry stuff. So
Oh,
there
you
are
mean okay, yes.
like services where you can send out an album to people, and it will track if they've opened it, listened to it, etc. But that I'll just say shout out Haulix, Haulix. So it's really marketing campaigns, but what they will do is they will put a tone in the music that the human ear can't hear, but that it's unique to each person you send it out to, so that if somebody downloads it and then tries to post it on a pirating site, you could, in theory, then just go to Haulix and be like, hey, need you to check this, confirm who it is. And they could go back and they'd be like, oh, this frequency matches the one embedded in the one sent to Tristan. Never send Tristan a review copy or an advanced thing again, because he's the guy who's taking your stuff and uploading it.
How'd you know?
It's they actually do similar things in like movie screeners, right? They'll sometimes secretly embed ones so that they can figure out who it was that uploaded it. So we've all seen like the watermarks, but usually there's also like a secret hidden something that like one single frame will have a code on it that, the human eye doesn't detect that it changed it. But so they had a bunch of stuff like that in this. And so Monarch then shows up and they basically get, I wouldn't say violent, but they basically kind of like kidnap Kate, and they're like, this is ours. Try and send her back to California and like never try and look into this stuff again. Don't do anything with it.
Gotcha.
She ends up causing the car to crash and escaping. And so then it becomes all about these kids trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, in the past, we have Keiko, who I don't remember her main name, so we're just going to call her Keiko for now.
Keiko.
She ends up with Lee Shaw on this mission where they are sent, I think it's maybe the Philippines. It's to another island in the Pacific, where they're kind of looking into like, we have these weird readings. Lee is just there to act as our security. While they're there, William Randa shows up, and he's like, oh, you're investigating this too? I think it's these crazy giant monsters. And somehow Keiko buys into it. They end up finding...
You crazy old man. It's not giant monsters.
So they end up finding this
seismic activity,
destroyed U.S. World War II ship, like way inland. Turns out William Randa had served on it. That's why he believes in the monsters. And so that's kind of, the three of them, then they're the start of Monarch, and they kind of go to the military and the government, like, this is why you have to fund us. And so they all sort of end up doing their research. Keiko and William find in love. We'll come back to them. The bulk of the show is set in the current time, but
so it's kind of their organization has essentially the same beginning as the plumbers for the White House. With the exception
of... What the hell are you talking about?
With the exception of the fact that giant monsters are involved.
You can't just say has the same origins as the plumbers in the White House without giving further context as to what you mean by that.
No, context over. Keep going.
Alrighty.
No, so it's as far as the plumbers are concerned. And if anybody doesn't know, that was Richard Nixon's dirty deeds done dirt cheap kind of people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Not quite the same origins.
Similar.
Along those lines, we'll say.
But with less monsters.
They are a secret
giant
entity. Monsters. So, in the present time, Kate, Kentaro, and May, they're kind of off investigating, what is this... Monarch entity. And this is where it starts to get into some of the stuff that I don't understand some of this show's obsession, and I'll say I despise how it handles some of it, which is that
Okay.
it has almost a manifest destiny element to it, or a sort of fantasy,
the Boers.
Your family is the chosen one kind of thing to it, where
Yeah, of course.
at one point, Kate and Kentaro, they end up sort of, I forget if it's the dad's, it's the dad's office in California. So they end up getting back there, and they have to sneak into this zone that you're not allowed to go into, and that there are, like, the U.S. military is patrolling and will just shoot people on sight. It's basically the destroyed zone from Godzilla fighting the Mutos.
Okay. Yep.
And they go into this office at night, and they're looking at this wall, and then they realize, oh, if you lay this map over it on the wall, that their dad, it's charting these things, and oh my god, these are emergent spots for the kaiju. I'm gonna call them kaiju. I don't care what the show calls it.
Mutos, come on, Hassan. They have lingo. Go with the lingo.
It's dumb. They're wrong. It's kaiju.
Whatever, man. I thought you were professional.
And this show, it does this like several times, where basically these characters are able to, like, they can see the patterns, or they're able to accomplish certain things because they're randas. It's just I fucking hate it. It's the worst. It's so stupid.
So they Skywalker themselves, huh?
Kind of, yeah. Like, I'm just gonna jump ahead a bunch. So there's a point where Kate, May, and an older Lee Shaw, they end up getting sort of sucked through this wormhole to the world of the kaiju, which that's sort of been a recurring element of Toho's kaiju Godzilla stuff, that there is this idea of these wormholes or hollow earth that the kaiju kind of live in. So
yeah, that's kind of Pacific Rim as well. It was like a holy kind of.
Pacific Rim took that from Godzilla Toho stuff.
I'm just finding legacy connection.
They get sucked through it, and there's a point where Tim is just like arguing with the head of Monarch about how they have to invest their resources to go and save these three people. And the head of Monarch, because they've been seeing these spikes in these sort of wormholes and like the sort of energy that gets blasted out when kaiju are about to show up. It's like, no, I need to focus my energy here. I have 7 billion people say, and it's just Tim shouting. It's like, but these three, they're the ones who could save the 7 billion. It's like, why do you think that? There is no reason to believe that these three have any special knowledge,
any evidence of this claim,
sir? It's so stupid, and I hate the show doing this, and it comes up several times.
Very lazy.
Is the
very, very
absolute
lazy, yes.
worst part of this show. The
Chosen One stuff is dead. Like, the Chosen One thing is kind of dead anyway as a plot
it's literally, you're right where you say, oh, they Skywalked it, because it's both Kate and Kentaro who have it. Like, it's literally this, like, no, it's in their genetics. And
so
again,
it's Luke and Leia. Cool, great,
the weird
awesome.
thing about it,
they wanted to raise Star Wars.
They only have Keiko's genetics. They don't have William Randa's genetics. And William is the one who figured out that it's all giant monsters, and he figured out the Hollow Earth stuff. Like, not that Keiko is not important to all this.
Sure, yeah.
But William is absolutely the more critical guy who all the, like, he can see the pattern stuff comes from. They don't have his genetics.
So which means that based on the fact that they had the same last name, they are the Chosen One.
Yeah, basically.
Marvelous. What a
yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh. I hate it. I hate it. It's the worst.
That's
it's
the smartest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
It's so dumb. Now, part of it is that it's supposed to be a no, their dad, he because Hiroshi, raised by William, and then Hiroshi, he had these certain quirks to him, and he passed those down to his kids and his personality. But it just comes across as genetics and manifest destiny, and it sucks in this show.
Yeah, it's always manifest destiny.
Now, I will say, though, I did like this show. I do think it is a good show because the human writing of the relationship elements, like Kate and Kentaro, the friction between them. So initially, Kentaro hates Kate. He's just like, your mother's the hussy that my dad was cheating on with. We didn't know about. Kate's like,
your mom's a hussy.
It's going the other way. Screw that.
Oh, no.
There's some really good friction there, and both their mothers, how they kind of handle this and are coping with it when they find out about it. The stuff there's also Keiko and Lee having an affair in the past, so there's that whole thing happening. There's some good politics where when the three of them go to the U.S. military to sort of get their funding and support, and the military's like, okay, when they understand the dangers of the monsters, like, we're going to do it. And the military's just like, yeah, so we're going to nuke Godzilla. What? No, we need to study it, not kill them. And of course, the military's like, no. And I'm going to say, the military being right of like, no, we need to kill these things. We need to know how to kill the giant monsters.
Yeah, you don't say.
Like, hey, understand? Hassan, I understand the importance of wanting to study these creatures and the humanitarian aspect of not just killing something because we fear it. On the other hand, we have a 200-meter tall lizard that shoots lasers out of its breath.
You may want to kill it.
Yeah, maybe we don't have to initially kill it before it's come at us, but we definitely need to study ways to kill these things, as repeatedly proven throughout these movies. Even though, the movies have this whole thing about, Godzilla, he's, the guardian of the earth, and he takes down the other kaiju.
Yes, he does do that.
We should know, if we could just kill the kaiju ourselves, then,
so is Mothra, though. Mothra's on our side, so,
yeah.
Just saying.
Mothra is pretty useless in the film, though.
Don't you take that back. She's here to save all of us.
Mothra is more useful than Rodan in film. I will give you that. They
what about Gamera?
Wasted Rodan in Gamera has not shown up yet.
Oh, well, eventually.
As I was saying earlier, we do not get much in the way of actual kaijus in this show. The reason, or one of the reasons, that it's called Legacy of Monster, though, is that it focuses on the mental repercussions and shockwaves of these giant monsters showing up and destroying San Francisco. So Kate, for example,
that would take a big toll. Yes.
A version of PTSD, we'll say. So when she is visiting Tokyo, after she's stormed out of sort of Kentaro and his mother's apartment, this alarm goes off that, oh no, we have potentially detected a kaiju, and everybody kind of runs to shelters. So a lot of those being in the subway, that just triggers her in the subway. She's like, oh my God, this is a repeat. I'm dealing with this. You have sort of in San Francisco or in California, we get to see kind of people trying to rebuild their lives and build communities again, trying to survive after this. Again, there's the sort of cordon off zone where the military are, and they're kind of shooting looters and that. One of the funnier things that I actually think this show has and acknowledges is when Kate first gets to Japan, the cab driver's just talking with her, and she mentions, "Oh, I'm coming from San Francisco." He's like, "Oh, where they faked the monsters." It's like, hell yeah, man! That is absolutely something someone would say.
Yeah, that would be something someone would say.
100% a thing that would come up.
How many people thought that 9/11 was fake? Because it's kind of the same.
How many people still think it's fake?
Good question, but like at the time, it's more relevant.
Me, because jet fuels can't melt steel beams. We've proven that time and again.
This is true. Jet fuel.
So why would the towers have come down? That doesn't make sense. Why would the towers come?
Yeah. A lot of people died, and
no.
Sam Raimi had to
the government
himself
wants you to think that.
Sam Raimi himself had to erase the Twin Towers from every shot of Spider-Man 2002.
Yeah, how could they have done that so shortly before the film came out? Because they knew in advance, because the government was working with Hollywood. That's what I'm saying. They used CGI effects to make people think that the monsters were real. San Francisco is fine.
Okay. Have you contacted anybody in San Francisco at this point, sir?
I don't know anyone there.
Okay.
Plus, the government's hiding them and stopping us from contacting them.
All right.
That's how this works.
Cool.
To be fair, the crazy guy in a world where Monarch exists.
Yeah, to be fair, the crazy guy.
He's not that wrong.
No, hold on.
Not that, let's be clear, not that many years after this show takes place, a giant robotic Godzilla in, I actually think it's South Korea, is revealed to be a thing that I forget their name, but this organization has built. So
I see.
It
reveals Mechagodzilla
in a world where, hey, the government's been hiding that they know about secret wormholes for 60 years.
Yeah.
A crazy conspiracy guy is not a crazy conspiracy guy,
And so, okay. So at one point they straight up say like Mechagodzilla exists.
Oh, Mechagodzilla's in the third movie.
Third movie, okay.
Yeah.
Right, no, these are connected. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. No, that's a thing.
I keep forgetting that this show is connected to all the movies that they have done.
Yeah.
For some reason, that is not
I mean, we found Kong in the 70s, I think it was. So again,
sure.
This crazy conspiracy guy, not that crazy a thing to believe.
I guess so, yeah. That's a good point. But
he's just a one-off throwaway character. But I do appreciate that. That's a fun line.
Yeah.
Kind of just more of the plot. So eventually, Kate, Kentaro, May, they end up meeting with the older Lee Shaw, as played by Kurt Russell. They're traveling to track down their father Hiroshi, because they realize, hey, he's not actually dead. He's been chasing these sort of emergence points for the kaiju. They end up at one point cooperating with Monarch. Then they kind of turn against Monarch.
Okay.
May, we find out that, so she's been sort of a shifty character, hiding some of her background. I'm just trying to find the name of the entity. That's it. So we find out from her background that at one point she worked for an entity called Applied Experimental Technologies, who eventually renamed to Apex Cybernetics, which Apex Cybernetics are the group that built Mechagodzilla.
Oh, okay.
And she's
oh man,
shifty about
Apex. God, it's right there.
her.
Ah, yeah.
But
Mecha King Kong.
no, we're getting Cyborg King Kong, right?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
In the trailer for that new movie,
they'll fist you. Fistula.
But her thing was
Spectacular.
So AET, who they were partner-ish with Monarch at one point, and so they were doing these animal experiments. So May ended up deleting a bunch of the data. I think it's it's some of the dumber writing when she does it, because then she's also all, ooh, well, maybe I'll reveal to the government what you're doing. And Ross just like, hey, idiot, we're working for it. Why do you think we're doing this research?
Do you know what a government-funded organization is, madam?
Like,
it's us.
Like, it's just this weird moment when she does it where you just go,
go ahead.
It's very difficult to believe that somebody could be doing this kind of work and not going and realizing, oh, so we're probably doing this, for the government, and they're probably aware and okay with all of this.
Yeah. This isn't like a privately funded organization. This isn't the Avengers or something.
They are a private organization, but it's still kind of just, it's the sort of organization like a Lockheed Martin or
well, even still,
like
yeah.
One of those other organizations where you just go, hey, any private work they're doing, the government's probably aware of it. Or you know how Microsoft, some of the sort of work that they end up doing ends up either being specifically for or involving the U.S. military kind of stuff. Where
exactly.
It just feels like the equivalent of somebody going to work at Microsoft, and then Microsoft is like, yeah, so we're building this AI to, build like, software to make cops better at killing people. And somebody's like, well, I deleted all the data. I'm going to tell the government. It's like, why do you think we're building software to make cops better at killing people? Obviously, the government knows we're doing this, you idiot.
Well, then in that case, I'm telling my sheriff, who's better than the government, Hassan.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize you were in Texas.
That's not just a Texan thing.
That's true. But that whole part of her is dumb. Eventually, Lee Shaw kind of ends up betraying the three of them, going off on his own thing to fight against Monarch. So then Monarch enlists Kate, Kentaro, and May to track him down. They manage to track him down to this same emergence hole that is also where Keiko ended up getting dragged through it by this cluster, I guess you would call it, of these Muto that are sort of, I would say, a meter long, like, infant kaiju.
Okay. But they kind of cluster up into one big thing, or
sex by our standards, but like, they're babies, so they're only sort of a meter in size.
Okay, sure.
They kind of they move sort of like a lot of zombie movies do now, where they all
like liquidized. They kind of move as like one big liquid of zombie kind of thing.
Yeah, and so basically, while they were down there searching it, Keiko got reckless, and Lee and William were like, oh, you really shouldn't go down there. She did, so they took her. So
Shocker.
Lee wants to close this wormhole. Jumping back in time, though, after that happened, we find out that William and Lee were doing research into these holes. So
Okay, yeah.
Lee and a group of other people got inside this kind of metal capsule that got sent down into the wormhole. But because it's sort of a kaiju world, it's all just lightning and kind of energy blasting off. So
Right, yeah.
their capsule ends up getting damaged. They get stuck down there. I think it's like a day or something that Lee is supposed to have been stuck down there.
Sure.
So he went down there in 1962. When he comes out, he's in this hospital. They're kind of holding him hostage there, and he it's like a sort of a mental ward style one where they're very
like an asylum kind of thing.
I don't think,
or more. Okay,
I wouldn't
yeah.
call it necessarily an asylum,
Mental
but
institution.
It's like a wing of a hospital where they want to make sure that you're not allowed outside of this room, you're not allowed certain things, but eventually grabs this nurse, and he's shouting like, bring me William Randa, and that's where Hiroshi shows up,
and Thorazine, and he's out.
Hey Lee, yeah, it's me, William. So you were actually down there 20 years. Turns out time moves differently in the kaiju world than in our world.
Oh.
Yeah, and so that's also why Lee, who should be sort of he'd probably be into about his 80s, is far more spry than he actually should be.
About
it
50,
gets mentioned
60.
a couple times.
Yeah.
However, the inverse of that, one of the problems I have with this show is that Hiroshi's character, who, according to the wiki and just based on the timelines of the show, born somewheres between 51 and 52.
Right, yeah.
This show takes place in 2015, so this character should be roughly around 63 years old.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep.
The actor portraying him, Takahiro Hira, is only 49. It is very evident that he is only 49, and this character in the show does not look anywhere near his actual age.
Okay.
It is
he's
weird,
young looking,
and I don't understand why they did this.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were going to reveal at some point. When that happened, I thought it was going to be, Hiroshi also went through to the other side or something, and that's why he looks... doesn't seem to be the case.
No, okay. So he just randomly looks younger because they hired a young actor and kind of said, damn the plot.
Don't know why they did that. It's
Alright, cool.
weird.
That happens, I guess.
It's super weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's such a weird inverse, too, of most Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
Where, here's, 55 Daniel Craig as James Bond. He can totally still get with this,
he's still got
30-year-old woman. Yeah, he's still super sexy and attractive. And you kind of go,
oh, I'm Daniel Craig. Oh, I'm James Bond. Oh,
here's
where's my Walker?
Oh my God, why blanking on
Prune juice.
Name? Western dude. Yeah, he can totally bang these two ladies in his films.
You mean Clint Eastwood?
Yeah. I think he has at least 2 films where he is into his 70s, and it involves him having a threesome with a couple of 20 to 30-year-old women. And you're just going, get out of here. This is stupid.
Same with Steven Seagal.
Less rapey than Seagal, thankfully.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but they all end up at this wormhole. Kate, May, and Lee end up falling through, and what do you know? Turns out Keiko is actually alive in there the whole time. She thinks it's been something like 50 days, I think she counts it as, even though it's been 60 some odd years. Might even be closer to 70 for her. No, it couldn't be that long. I think she went missing in 1960 or something, so it's been 55 years or whatever.
Okay.
Eventually, they all end up escaping because Kentaro and Tim end up going and working with AET, as well as Hiroshi. So they do eventually find their dad. The three of them end up working with AET. They pull them all out. Hiroshi sees his mother. There's actually a really funny moment, though, where when Kate meets her grandmother, and her grandmother is asking about her father, and Kate is just espousing, oh yeah, he's such a great guy. And I get it. You don't want to sit there and be like, right now I feel like my dad was an absolute dirtbag, two-timing on my mother, lying to us about all this. You don't want to say that. But they get out of there only a couple hours later, and so it's got to be weird for the Keiko, the grandmother, to be like, oh, kind of lied about how my son's been doing and stuff.
You said he was good. You said he was a doctor and shit.
Maybe not
doctor
such
of being a prick.
upstanding guy as I was led to believe.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted to speak. I was having an affair with the old man who sacrificed himself for us in the kaiju realm.
Yeah. I was banging the hot old silver fox over here.
Well, no, I banged him when he was a young guy. That was, for me, only a month and a bit ago.
Whatever.
But that's... This show, so it's 10 episodes long. Episodes range between sort of 45, 50 minutes. So, very much trying to cram as much into as possible. Skipped over a bunch of stuff. But overall, I do like this show. I think it is well-written characters, some really good relationship stuff. Mm-hmm. I like a bunch of the stuff they do with Monarch. Both in the past, there's a lot of political elements of it then. The stuff around trying to balance between, hey, how much do we support the government in their murder our kaiju goal versus our goal of, no, we are scientists and we want to study this and understand it. As well as in the current day, there's some interesting stuff of, hey, Monarch doing things in the shadowy sort of background, but it really should be open and speaking to the public on this.
Yeah,
probably the best way to make sure that the public survives kaiju stuff is for them to actually know.
They should make some sort of public announcement of like how to deal with this stuff if it happens in your neighborhood.
So that does happen. It's more of a Monarch doing its stuff in the background and then leaving it up to each nation's government to enact its own kind of policy and communication stuff. Okay,
sure. That makes sense. It just it's starting to kind of sound like they. Perhaps some of the showrunners or writers may have... it's Matt Fraction. He definitely has read Kaiju Number 8. And wanted to kind of do something similar-ish, but not as militarized. But then also, touch on, how the world deals with Kaiju. But not totally.
Yeah, I personally cannot speak to any specific influences this show may have, because other than Godzilla related stuff, because to me none of it evoked a singular other piece of media. I'm certain they have taken from other things. I've no doubt.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But a lot of that kind of government stuff, it feels like it is both taking from some of the real world things.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, Oppenheimer was huge this past summer, right? That's a great example of a real world. Hey, government doing some shadowy stuff, but also for the betterment, or maybe not the betterment, but at least for the right reasons.
The Los Alamos, let's all live there.
I'm more so just thinking in the sense of, hey, the Allies did have to get there first before the Nazis.
Yes, and it's stated in the movie. I watched Oppenheimer recently.
I'm not saying they should have dropped the bombs. I'm just saying absolutely the Allies did need to look into nuclear weapons because the Nazis were. So, it's taking from that. It's definitely taking from other fictional media with some of those elements. Get the emotional stuff I actually think is very well done in terms of, hey, what happens to a society, a world? How do you cope with the idea of these giant monsters can show up anytime?
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I'm not sure I'm going to watch a season 2. I very much am not looking forward to it because this film takes place in 2015.
Yeah.
1 year after the Godzilla movie I like.
Okay.
So we brought in the Apex stuff, which that's the third movie with the Mechagodzilla that I hated. But also there's the second movie that's going to have to happen, and the idea that this is going to have to get to those points and involve those things, I am not looking forward to, and to sort of use another media franchise as sort of a talking point. You brought it up, hey, they Skywalkered it. The best way I can put it is it's like enjoying something set in between episode 6 and 7 because you like the original trilogy stuff, but that the next season is going to have to get into like, ooh, now we need to talk about all the Palpatine cloning stuff that everyone hates. And that's just how I feel about where a season 2 of this has to go is, well, it's going to have to get into all the stuff from assuming they do a season 2, it has to get into all the stuff that I hated from the subsequent movies.
Yep. Fair enough.
I kind of think I'm done. That said, I think the show mostly works as a single season in the sense if you know that, oh, well, this is just supposed to be part of a larger, the movie stuff.
Larger project, let's say.
You don't really need to see more of these characters, at least for me. I'm sure some people are like, what happens with Keiko? What happens with Kate and Kentaro? I just don't care. I'm kind of done with these characters because I know, it has to be this thing, and bleh. I don't want that.
Yeah, I can't really blame you. As far as this show goes, what's the level of, like, are there any good, like, big monster fights in this show at all?
Oh, no. There are
anything?
There are... in my brain, I want to say it's 2. There's definitely one that happens final episode when they're in the kaiju realm.
Okay.
Most of the kaiju we see are actually of a smaller variety, not Godzilla-sized ones. It's not a
smaller
good kaiju show. If you're here for kaiju, this is not the show for you. They are barely there. Godzilla maybe has 10 minutes total screen time in the entire show.
I like that Legendary kind of like saw, hey, Michael Bay's Transformers make a lot of money, and they have like weird, like sporadic sprinklings. Not really sprinklings. The main plot is basically the military versus the Transformers in a sense. Let's just kind of like put that out there, make that a big thing. And the Jurassic World movies also did this too.
I think it works here because this is supplemental. This isn't supposed to be a Godzilla movie, right?
Yeah,
it's called Monarch. It's about the people, so I think it works here. If this were called, Godzilla, the Monarch Legacies, then I would definitely have some complaints. I give it a pass here because Godzilla has very much always been about the humans too.
Yeah.
Because,
it is that connection. Yes, I agree.
He is generally a non-talking giant creature, so you kind of need the humans there to do a lot of the
emotional
talking stuff. I do think, however, though, it would have been nice to have more kaiju stuff. I think it would have been good to have more interesting kaiju as well. The couple of kaiju that are in it, I don't really care for their designs and just think they're boring and forgettable creatures. Like the Mutos in the 2014 film, I think those are a really good addition to the list of kaijus. But the ones that are in this are kind of meh. But overall, I do like the show. It's a tough thing to recommend, though, because it does require someone to have watched at least the first Legendary film, and I would argue the second one, just because the second, I believe the second one's Godzilla King of the Monsters. That has a little bit more Monarch stuff. And again, kind of getting into, like, I'm not looking forward to a second season.
Yeah.
It's a very hard thing to recommend. It's very hard for me to sit here and tell somebody, you should watch this thing, but you have to watch kind of a bad movie and then probably not want any more of this show, even though it definitely ends in a way that it wants you to go and consume a second season if that happens.
Yeah, it does want another season, and it probably also wants more movies to exist. That's just good business, of course, but
I really hope they don't. I genuinely, enthusiastically hope that that Godzilla movie coming out this year, I hope it makes less money than Godzilla -1.
Oof. Question: the Monarch stuff, has that actually been throughout the other movies as well?
Yeah, Monarch.
Okay.
It started in the 2014 movie. They are specifically named. They're specifically mentioned. That's I think you've watched that movie, right?
I have not. No, I've not watched a single one of these.
You should watch the 2014 one. So they are specifically mentioned. They are specifically talked about in that movie. So they are not something just made up for this show. They have been there from the very beginning. Okay,
that makes sense then. Yeah, I guess it's kind of good to get some, like, a little bit of a tie-in material then. You know, hopefully they don't overstep their boundaries and make another show that kind of goes nowhere, because that's what it sounds like this one, you know, at least leads up to something and then ends. If they make a second season,
someone else will be able to tell us about where it goes in season 2, because that's not going to be this guy.
Excellent. Well,
I'm not a Tristan.
No, I think you are, actually. Too bad.
Unlike you, I won't watch however many seasons of Young Justice. I'm willing to dip out on things.
That's what you think you say. You say that.
I'm the guy who recognized that Dexter was bad 2 seasons before everybody else who watched it to the end. It said, "Nah, I'm out, guys."
No, that's fair. That was definitely a thing. However, I think you might have overestimated your ability.
Nope.
I don't know. I think you're going to watch that really bad Godzilla X Kong movie.
King Charles? I don't think so. I can take that guy.
He's got his fingers are so big, Hassan.
Yeah, what's he going to do?
He's going to hit you with them. They're just so meaty. They're like baseball bats attached to a baby's fist.
Yeah, but they're like baseball bats that you've wrapped in pillows.
Look, man, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure those are like, that's like solid meat. That's like dense meat. It's like getting hit with a slab of beef.
Might be why he has prostate problems. Too much.
Probably
beef.
The case. Yeah, probably. Yeah, the British diet, everybody. Well, do you have anything else you want to say about the show? Monarch Legacy.
Go watch Godzilla -1. That thing is really good.
That's fair. I've heard that. Well, we'll leave it there then. So you should go and find us on Twitter, which is at EIFNIR. Go there and just tell us how much you loved Godzilla 2014 and Monarch Legacy of Monsters. And then when it comes out, which is Godzilla X Kong, like whatever that thing's called. It's Fisting Time Again. Basically, let us know how much you love that one, and Hassan will also let you know that he loves it too.
Nope, please do not tell me anything about that movie. The less I know, the better.
You're gonna find out. You can also go to our Spotify and iTunes pages. Leave a review, tell your friends, share our show on YouTube, do the like and subscribe stuff. If you really want to, there's buttons somewhere there probably at this point, who knows. Do the things, share our show with your friends, and just I don't know, toss our show out into the void and into that not de-aging, but slow aging hole. And that way our show becomes timeless. Because eventually this is all going to just burn up. Oh, yeah, no. Either global warming or hypercapitalism could kill us all. That's one and the same as far as I'm concerned. And eventually there's going to... giant lizard, though. We all wish it was a giant lizard. It's true. We're not going to get there. But you could get there by going to djdane.com. The guy that does our music, that's djdane.com. Go there, listen to his sweet tunes, and worship him like he's the chosen one, I guess. Manifest destiny. Manifest destiny, baby. Just like Kong is going to manifest his destiny via Big Fist. Ugh. Yes. Big monkey fist. Kind of like King Charles, but his fist is less less meaty somehow. Yeah. Anyway, that's our first show. Tune in next time. Another Earth P episode of Everything is Fucking If It's Ruined. See ya. See ya.